A very good day and welcome to this 2024 Ultimate Guide on running Google Ads campaigns for your e-commerce store. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through the entire document which I created on how Google Ads works, the best strategies, how we run ads for our clients, and basically everything there is to know from the strategy to the actual implementation when it comes to running Google Ads campaigns successfully for your e-commerce store. I'm gonna, as I said, walk you through it. I included a document below, so you can access that document. Feel free to have a look, but I'm gonna walk you through the entire process. So if you want to set up your first Google Ads campaigns, this video is made for you because we're gonna teach you and show you how we do it at our agency. So sit back and relax. Maybe open the document already, and I am very excited to record this video for you guys. And I hope you are excited to view it too. So without any further ado, let's dive right into it. Let's start with a short introduction. For those who don't know me, my name is Floris van Vleuten. I am the owner of Amplifize, which is a Google Ads agency where we help grow e-commerce brands throughout the globe. And we've done so for various clients in pretty much any niche you can think of. We generated over 10 million euros just by running Google Ads. So we generated the 10 million euros plus in Google Ads revenue, which basically accounts to the fact that we know what we are doing when we are talking about Google Ads. I am very confident that I'm going to provide very much value to you today. So feel free to rewatch this video. Feel free to implement everything with me. And as I said, I created a very extensive document, so feel free to go to that document and view it yourself. I am here today ultimately to help you set up your first Google Ads campaigns and to get in your first couple sales, because those are the hardest ones. And once you get the ball rolling, you'll get the hang of it, and then you can really scale your account to reach your goals ultimately. Cool. As I said, at the left part, we have an outline on what we are going to cover today, right? And as I said earlier, we are going to cover both the strategy, how Google Ads works, and how the backend in Google Ads works, so you have an understanding about that. And we're going to walk you through the actual campaign setup as well. So how to set up your first account, how to set up your first campaign, how to set up conversion tracking. We're basically going to do everything which leads you to your first sale in Google Ads. So we're going to cover the key strategies first. Then we will dive into the most made mistakes and how to avoid them. And then we have the actual Google Ads and Shopify setup. If you're using WooCommerce, don't worry, it will be very similar and you'll get the hang of it. I'm going to set it up today with Shopify because it's one of the most used platforms. And if you are using WooCommerce, you'll figure it out. I'm very certain of that. After that, we're going to cover how to do actual keyword research, which is one of the fundamentals when it comes to Google Ads. And then we're going to talk about both scaling your ads, and I'm going to cover a couple important bonuses, which takes us from a beginner to an intermediate Google Ads expert. And then I'm going to tell you what you have to do next to scale your accounts. Cool. Let's talk about the key strategies for e-commerce in Google Ads. So as we all know, Google Ads is the main driver for a lot of high buy intent traffic to your website. So you want to have a good conversion optimized website, and then you are going to buy in your traffic from Google, the most used search engine in the world. In Google, you want to stay on the top of the page when people are ready to buy and they are looking for your product or your solution specifically. So there are a couple campaign types with which we can reach that goal. And then there are a couple campaign types that can help us reach more brand awareness and basically remarket the visitors that we already got. But to get in your initial sale, you want to stay on the top of the page with your product and with your search ads, which I'm getting into in a minute. So you know exactly how and when to appear on the page and what to bid on, basically. So let me cover the three most important campaign types, right? We have search campaigns, which is the first one, and it's we all know this campaign type. It's just a text ad on the top of the page or like throughout the page, and those can be either ads or organic results. And the first 2 to 4 results are mostly the ads. So we want to be there. Search campaigns are very great for people who are actively searching your products, and they're not always the best option for generating sales unless you do your keyword research good and you write your copy good. So besides the search campaigns, we have the shopping campaigns, which is basically your product listings, right? You see your product page, you see your product image, your product title, a price, and if somebody clicks on that, they land on your product page very specifically. Those campaigns are perfect for getting your products in front of buyers who are ready to purchase, because they are looking for a specific solution or even specifically your product, and you want to show your product at the top of the page at that particular moment. When somebody searches for a product like yours, your ads show up within the product image, price and store name, as I said, and there are multiple ways to do that, which we will get into as well. But those are the most important campaign types, so search and shopping. And then we have an extra campaign type, which you might have heard of, which is Performance Max. And Performance Max is a fairly new campaign type. It's been out for like 1 to 2 years now, and it basically leverages Google's AI, Google's algorithm, to show your ads across all of Google's inventory, so search, shopping, display, YouTube and more. And it's basically, as it states here, a powerhouse for e-commerce, especially when you're looking to scale, because you're leaning on the algorithm of Google, and the algorithm is getting really, really smart. Performance Max is a very powerful campaign type, but it limits us in both targeting and both bidding. But again, there are ways to optimize your Performance Max campaigns, and you are probably wondering, when should I use which campaign type, in which scenario, what are the recommended budgets, etc., etc. So I'll get into that right now. So, as I stated right here, we've been running Google Ads for a while, for over 5 years. And we've been onboarding, and we are actively onboarding new clients every month to test out different strategies. And today I will share the strategies and the campaign structures that gave us the best results, so you can just copy that. And when you're getting your first couple sales, you have to base your choices upon data, obviously. But the structures that I will share with you in a bit, those apply to most of the e-commerce brands, and will get 99% of the e-commerce brands your first couple sales, which is the most important thing. So let's start with campaign structure phase 1. You have 0 to 30 sales, and you want to spend 50 euros or 50 USD a day. We always use 50 USD or 50 euros a day as a recommended budget, because we want to get enough traffic to cover our conversion rate. So we gonna have at least like between 30 and 100 clicks in order for us to be a converting account, to be generating sales, right? So what we want to do in this phase is set up a standard shopping campaign, like I showed in this visual. Set up a non-branded search campaign, which is a search campaign that shows up if people are looking for your product, but not specifically your brand name. And then to cover your branded searches, you want to set up a branded search campaign, which covers just 5 to 10% of your budget, which covers your brand name if people are particularly looking for your brand. To give a short explanation on the campaign types, the standard shopping campaign, as I said a minute ago, is the product listing at the top of the page. So you want to spend the majority of your budget there. Let's say 60 to 70%. Then on your non-branded search campaign, you want to spend like 10 to 25% of your budget. And on your branded search campaign, you want to see that as just a protection campaign. You could leave it for what it is, but it will get your account some conversions and make the AI of your Google account a bit smarter. So I do recommend running branded search on a low budget. In terms of the setup, what it looks like is you want to have a standard shopping campaign with between 5 and 20 products, or like less products, but no more than 20 products, because you want to be able to optimize upon the data that you have. So if you have 1,000 products and you're gonna put it in a standard shopping campaign, it will be really hard for you to manually cope with that. And then I would recommend if you want to start advertising way more, I would also start advertising with way more budget. So then you can skip this phase and go to phase 2. But to stick with this phase, you want to have a standard shopping campaign with 5 to 20 products, or let's say 1 to 20 products. You want to spend the majority of your budget here, and for the bidding strategy, you want to use maximize clicks with a bid cap. So look into your keyword data, which we will get into as well, and look at the top of the page bid and make sure your campaign doesn't overspend unnecessarily, right? As I said, there is an alternative option, which is Performance Max. And Performance Max, as I said in the introduction, is a AI-powered campaign type which spans across all of Google's placements. But if you only attach the feed to the campaign, it will only spend on Google Shopping placements. So there's this kind of trick, that this is the first trick of the video. There's this kind of trick where you only attach a feed and don't put in any headlines or descriptions or whatsoever. And then the feed-only campaign will only spend on the shopping placement, which is basically a standard shopping campaign on steroids, if that makes sense for you. If you are setting up the Performance Max feed-only campaign, you want to use, again, like 1 to 20 products or 5 to 20 products, the majority of your budget. And as a bidding strategy, you cannot click maximize clicks. So you want to use maximize conversions in this case. That's the shopping placement. Then when it comes to the non-branded search campaign, you want to use very high intent keywords. Again, from your keyword research that we will do later in this video, but you want to choose the high intent keywords. You want to target them very specifically. So we are going to set the keywords to exact match. And then we want to use a maximize clicks bidding strategy to get in the most volume, and also here with a bidding cap, like a cost per click cap. And then we have the branded search, which I already covered, just the branded terms, put them in exact match as well, and put them in manual CPC, so control your bids on keyword level, so you just make sure that you are bidding not too much on those keywords. Cool. This strategy will get you to 30 sales and above. And you might have to do some tweaks, some optimizations. I will get into that later, but this specific structure will get you your first couple sales. When it comes to phase 2, you have at least 30 sales within the account. So you are able to spend more. You know what keywords are working, you know what products are working, and you can spend more on those. So how your structure is going to look like right now is that we are going to leverage the AI of Google, because Google's account, your Google Ad account, is getting smarter and smarter the more data is in the account. So we would always recommend getting at least 30 sales and then stepping on to Performance Max feed only, unless you are a very risky person, if that makes sense. So campaign structure phase 2 contains a Performance Max feed only campaign, like I just explained, but then the feed only campaign covers the shopping stuff. And you want to exclude your brand name from that Performance Max feed only campaign. The reason that you want to exclude your brand is because Performance Max is really good at getting the most easy to get conversions. So if you don't exclude your brand name, it will only spend on your branded search terms, and that's just a waste of your budget. So you want to control that yourself. So exclude your brand name in that campaign, and that will make it easier for you to go after people who are looking for your product but not specifically your brand. You want to set up a target cost per action bidding, so you put in what you want to spend per purchase basically, and after 15 conversions in this particular campaign you can switch to target ROAS, where you basically tell the campaign which amount of return on ad spend you want within the campaign. Here you also want to spend the majority of your budget, right? The shopping placement is the highest converting one, so here you also want to spend 60 to 70% of your budget in. Then you have your non-branded search, again with high intent keywords, exact match, and you can shift into TROAS, because again your account is getting smarter and smarter, and you can spend 10 to 25% of your budget on this campaign. We excluded our brand in the Performance Max feed only campaign in this phase, but you still want to show on the results page if somebody looks for your product, right? So what you want to do is set up a separate shopping campaign only focusing on the brand. And what that looks like is that you have to exclude the non-branded terms. And to do this, we have a we have a branded shopping script included in this document. So you can access it right here. Load that script into your branded shopping campaign. And then you want to set the bidding strategies to maximize clicks, again with a CPC cap. And you just want to spend like 5 to 10% of your budget here, right? Then, in terms of branded search, still 5 to 10% of your budget, branded terms on exact match, and now you can shift to target impression share because your account is getting smarter and smarter. And what target impression share means is basically that you want to show up on either the absolute top of the page, so number 1, or at the top of the page, so top 3 of the results. And you want to set that targeting method to 90% of the times, because sometimes you just don't want to spend too much on that. And you can add a CPC cap in there as well. Now we have phase 3, guys. So in this phase we have 100 plus sales and we can spend more than 300 euros or 300 USD a day. This structure is getting a bit more complicated and you still want to keep it as simple as you can, but this is what it will look like. So you have your Performance Max feed only and then another Performance Max feed only. Because what you will see in phase 2 is that some products will perform very well and some products won't perform at all. So you want to split your Performance Max into 2 campaigns, where one campaign contains the highest performing products. So you spend the majority of your budget here with a low target ROAS. It will probably over deliver. So if you set a low target, Google will spend more aggressively and gives you the best results, as I said right here. Give this the majority of your budget, 50 to 60%. And then we have also the Performance Max feed only campaign, the feed only zombies campaign. What we want to do here is set the target ROAS to break even. And this campaign is used to contain products which either didn't spend or have a lower performance. So either 1 conversion, either break even, you know the drill. And what we want to have is a campaign type that tries to get in the most conversions and find winners. And if it finds a winner, we put it in the heroes campaign. So that's the shopping placement in phase 3. We are having a branded search campaign to protect our brand, all the same as in phase 2. And the shopping branded campaign is the same as in phase 2 as well. Then we have 2 other campaigns. One non-branded search campaign, which we already knew, but now we're going to change the keyword match types to broad match instead of exact match. Because the account is now so smart that it knows exactly which people will buy which products, right? So you can set a TROAS as we said earlier, and then you want to add in your broad match keywords instead of your exact match keywords. So just change the keyword types, that's it. For the dynamic search campaign, you want to set up a search campaign dynamically and only target the relevant pages. So category pages, product pages, or maybe blog pages and nothing else besides that. And set a TROAS for that campaign. What this campaign type will do is serve your search ads to people who are looking for keywords that you are not yet targeting with your non-branded search campaign. So it can be very useful. If you are more of a risky person, you can also use a Performance Max no feed campaign, which is basically a Performance Max campaign that you set up and you don't attach a feed, so it goes heavily into the search placement. You basically steer how the Performance Max campaign will go, right? And again, target just the relevant pages and target TROAS bidding strategy, because Google will search for the people who are converting. And again, with this Performance Max campaign, exclude your brand name, guys. It's very important. And that's basically part 1, the key strategies for e-commerce within Google Ads. Which brings us to part 2. So we know what kind of strategy we have to implement, but now we want to avoid the common mistakes and to learn the best practices. So Mistake number one is not using the right keywords or not using negative keywords. And in terms of the right keywords, we are going to do keyword research in this video, so don't worry about that. And for negative keywords, you want to check your search terms within the account every 2-3 days and exclude any keywords that aren't relevant for your product. Mistake number two is forgetting to optimize product feeds. Because what you want to do is, if you use a shopping placement, you don't target on search terms or whatever, but Google reads out your product feed and then determines whether or not to show your ad. So you want to optimize your product feeds in terms of both images and titles and descriptions and all the product attributes to make sure that you feed Google with the right data. Mistake number three is setting up broad campaigns with no specific audience targeting. And I am quite sure that you won't make this mistake because we are getting into this strategy. But just make sure that you are reaching the right audience, that you have a good product feed, good keyword targeting, that you are using TROAS when your account is ready for it. And then, for example, you have to make sure to have at least 100 conversions before testing out strategies like broad match and TROAS. And you want to optimize for mobile, obviously. I still wanted to mention it in there because it's very important, and I would rather call it a few times than you forgetting about it. So optimize for mobile and optimize for speed. The best practices is to use smart bidding when your account is ready, because as much as some people would like to stay on manual bidding, they won't outbid the smart bidding strategies from Google. So make sure to use smart bidding when your account is ready. Best practice number two is keeping your product titles and description optimized. So try to A/B test also, like when you're in the process, but I'm sure you'll get this best practice. Number three is regularly check search terms reports, because your negative keywords will be in there, or your keywords that you have to set to negative. So that's a very important one. And you want to utilize remarketing eventually for people who added stuff to their cart but didn't check out yet. That's a best practice in as well. Now, the moment that we all been waiting for, the Google Ads and Shopify setup. So let's get into the meat of the guide. We're gonna set up Google Ads with Shopify, and this is the moment where we will talk you through every step. So what we are going to do right now is we're going to create a Google Ads account. We're gonna link the Google Ads account with Shopify. We're gonna create a Merchant Center account, which we need. We're gonna set up conversion tracking, and that's basically what sets us up to set up our campaigns ultimately. So let's get into it. Cool. So guys, it's fairly simple to set up your Google Ads account. You go to ads.google.com and you basically walk through the process. So you probably already have a Google account, and if you don't, this is the right time to set it up. So mine is in Dutch, actually. I'm sorry for that, but mine is in Dutch. What you want to do is don't listen to whatever Google is saying, right? So the only thing that you want to do is put in your name, Amplifize store account. For example, we want to have our URL, which is amplifize.nl, just to show you something. So we just followed the first step, right? We just filled in our name and that's it. And now Google wants us obviously to create a first campaign to make us spend money already, but we have to fix other steps of the setup. So what we want to do is just skip all of this. Click next, next, skip, skip. Don't create a campaign, that's what it says. And that's everything that you have to do. So just go to ads.google.com and follow the process. Add your payment info, but don't start any campaign yet because we have to fix some things when it comes to doing the setup, right? So now we're gonna connect our Shopify with our Google account. So what we're going to do is click on sales channels, and you'll probably see Google and YouTube sales channel pop up. Just click that thing and download everything, and it will take you through the process, right? So when you're on this screen, what you want to do is, so we are in Google and YouTube app. You want to connect your Google account. And what you want to do here is walk through the steps. So we have add a valid payment method, create an online store, add a refund policy in terms of service. That one is really important. Make sure it's correct. And then confirm that you've added information to your online store. So we click that. Yeah, we confirm. And then in terms of the Google Merchant Center account, we can connect it here once we've set it up, or we can here and click create new. So that's what we are going to do right now. As you can see, it automatically created a new Google Merchant Center account, so we can just click connect. And once that's done, the only thing that you have to do is verify your phone number right here. So that's what I'm going to do right now. We select the target language. For the feed, I'm going to target the Netherlands, and I have read and agreed to the terms and conditions. We can click complete setup, and we are done. So if you have any products in here, it will say that all your products are pending, and within a couple minutes, maybe half an hour, it will be uploaded to Google Merchant Center. And that's basically that. So now the last step to this process is what you want to do is go into your ad account, go to Tools and click Data Manager. And then in this screen, you want to click Google Merchant Center right here. It will pop up a screen where it gets you to either send a request or link to a Merchant Center account. And obviously, we just created the Merchant Center account right here. So we can use that one, click Next, and click Submit. And now we are able to have a connection between the product feed in Merchant Center and our ad account. So we created our Google Ads account, we created our Google Merchant Center account, we linked all of the accounts together, also within Shopify. And now what we want to do is set up conversion tracking. And this is probably one of the most important topics because you want to track conversions, let Google's AI get smarter and have data to optimize on. My colleague Dennis will explain to you how this actually works because he's technically very good. So let's cut to the video where my colleague Dennis walks you through the entire process, also using a document which is listed below, and this will enable you to track the actual purchases that your account will make. So let's go.
Hello everyone, this is Dennis from Amplifize, and today I'm going to show you how to implement Google Ads conversion tracking using customer events in Shopify. We no longer have access to the checkout additional section in Shopify, so the Google Tag Manager implementation method is also no longer available for us as a Google Ads specialist. That's why we need to use this new method to track the Google Ads conversions basically. So we created this really extensive document with a step-by-step tutorial, basically how you need to set up the conversion tracking. But if you want, you can watch the whole video. We will do it live. And yes, let's get just started. The first thing we need to do is to go to the Google Ads dashboard and create our conversion action first. Let's navigate to Google Ads. Here we are in the Google Ads dashboard. You need to navigate to goals. Then below conversions, you click summary. And here we need to click create conversion action. You choose website. You need to write your website domain over here. Click scan. And then we don't want this. You click cancel. You choose add a conversion action manually. So here you choose purchase. It's really important to name your conversion action with a proper name that you will be able to understand really quickly afterwards. This could include basically the implementation method or something else that will help you to navigate easier afterwards. So we will name it Amplifize, Purchase, and Google Tag, since we are going to use the Google Tag implementation method. Over here, it's really important to use different values for each conversion. You need to choose the currency and you leave this as it is, so it is 1. On the next section, we don't change anything if you are tracking e-commerce purchases, of course, we want to track every purchase, but if it's lead generation, you click one, and you can also click use the same value over here as well. It really depends on the scenario. The settings below, we don't change them, of course, if you don't want to, but usually we always use the recommended settings. One really important note over here is to always click the use enhanced conversion for these conversion actions, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to leverage all of the power and to gather all of the data from the conversion tracking. If you are done over here, you click done, and we will proceed further. You click save and continue. And then it's really important to click see event snippet, because we need to copy this somewhere. So you come here, you create a new document, you just paste it, because we will use it in short period of time. So we are done with the setup of conversion actions in Google Ads. Important notes you see over here, and the steps as well. So enable enhanced conversions, and you need to copy your conversion ID and conversion label. We already did that, so we proceed further. The next step is to navigate to Shopify. But before we begin, an important disclaimer: it's crucial to remove any previous conversion tracking scripts from Google Tag Manager that are already in your website, mainly in your theme.liquid file and in the additional checkout scripts. But if you're currently using Google Tag Manager for your conversion tracking and it's active, you have active campaigns, it's really important to first see if this implementation method is set up correctly. You are tracking the conversions from both methods basically. So when you implement this tracking, choose the setup of your conversion actions as secondary. Once you see the conversions over there, you just change to primary. So this was the important disclaimer. First, make sure that the new implementation method is working properly, and then delete everything and just stick with the new one. So let's proceed further. We need to navigate to Shopify. We come here. You need to click on the settings on the left corner at the bottom. You then will see this menu. You click customer events, and on customer events you click add custom pixel. It's really important to name the custom pixel also in a unique way. Just it will help you to navigate easily. We'll name it Amplifize Google Ads Tracking, and you click add pixel. I already created that, so let's just delete that. I will do it again. Amplifies Google Ads Tracking. You click add pixel, and you will see this menu over here. You delete everything from here, and you first need to check the settings in the top. So permission, if you're in Europe, you need to select required, because we have the consent mode v2, which is a mandatory, and we need to basically collect the data if the people granted the access. So if you're outside of the Europe, you can just click not required. It's on your personal preferences. And on data sale, we don't change anything. We leave it like this. Data collected qualifies as data sale. And that's it over here. Now let's navigate to our document. As you can see also in the screenshot, it's really simple. And we come here to copy the script. So you just copy the whole script basically. and you just paste it over here. But before you paste it, you need to come here. This is your conversion ID. So you copy the conversion ID and you come here to change everything. It starts with a W and then a few numbers. So you know that this is the conversion ID. You change it over here as well. And we have one more place over here. In this at this place we need to put the conversion label. So you copy the conversion label and you navigate back to Shopify, you paste it over here, and that's it. You just need to click save at the top. You see the pop-up, you click save. Once you save the script, basically you just click connect. It will say pixel connected. So that was everything we need to do. Now let's navigate back to the document. As you can see, we covered each step in the video, but also you can follow the document as well. I highlighted here the conversion ID and conversion label just to make sure that you change them before connecting the pixel code, and that's it. Unfortunately, we are not able to test the conversion tracking since the pixel code is in a sandbox environment. But that's why I said if you have already active conversion tracking, just leave it for a couple of days. And once you see that the new method is active, you're tracking your conversions properly in Google Ads, just change the conversion actions between primary and secondary. That's everything you need to do. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. I hope that this video was really helpful for you, also the document, and you will be able to implement the conversion tracking really easily. If you have any questions, just leave us a comment and we will be really happy to help you. Bye bye for now.
All right, so we are pretty much good to go, and now it's very important that we do our keyword research. And again, I'm gonna cut to a video where I show you exactly how to do keyword research exactly. But before we get into that, I wanna let you know how keyword research works. Because you have all these fancy tools out there that promise you the best keywords and this and that. But the thing is, Google's keyword planner is sufficient enough, especially when you're starting out. So what you want to do is to go into Google Keyword Planner and find the most high potential keywords. And you can do that in two ways. One is to provide keyword ideas. So go to Google Keyword Planner and just type in your product. Just type in the solution that your product provides, type in the product variants, and just give it like up to 10 ideas and let it generate a list of keywords. A second way is to let Google crawl your URL. So what you want to do now is copy your product URL and paste it in there, and Google will give you ideas based upon the data that it reads on your product page. When Google is done, it will give you a big sheet of keywords and search term data. So what you want to do is pick 5 to 10 keywords that you want to focus, that have at least a high volume. So let's say at least 5,000 plus, and then no insanely high CPCs. This is highly depending on your niche and about your average order value, but just compare it with all the other keywords that you see in the account. And you want to use high intent keywords. That brings us to the keyword research video. In this part, I will show you how to do keyword research with the Google Ads Keyword Planner, either to start with keywords, like I told you, or to start with a website. The starting with a website is pretty straightforward. So I set it already to English, the language, and as target country, I targeted the United Kingdom. So you just want to paste your product page, and if you want to look for specific products, specific keywords for that product page, you click only use this page and click on Get Results. What you're going to get is a big file of keywords from Google, right? Where it says either your brand or non-brand related search terms and their data, plus their top of the page bid, high range and low range. And as I said, I want you to look for high volume keywords, let's say 5K plus. So blue light glasses would be a very viable, a very usable one, right? We can also use Google Keyword Planner and discover new keywords based off on our own keywords. So let's say blue light blockers or blue light blocking glasses. And you can come up with your own ideas. Click get results and you get either options to broaden up your search, so blue light blocking eyewear, for example, and you get your keyword file right here. So as I said, look for high volume, no insanely high CPCs, and high intent keywords. Those are very important. Now, creating a Google shopping campaign. It's very easy. I'm going to show you right now. Now we are going to create our Google shopping campaign, the campaign that drives the most traffic to our product pages. So what you want to do is go to campaigns and click new campaign. That's it. And then you just walk through the process. I'm going to do it with you. We're going to click sales. We have our conversion actions right here, which we already set up. We're going to click continue and choose the shopping campaign type. It lets us connect an account, which we already connected to the Google Ads account. And even though we got no products yet to load in our feed, you will have products because you have products to your Shopify campaign, right? It pushes us to create a Performance Max campaign, but we want to correct it and go to a standard shopping campaign. Click continue, then enter a campaign name, something like Netherlands shopping all for all products. You want to use either a manual CPC or a maximize click strategy. Target cost per bid, maximum CPC limit is €2 and the budget is, for example, €40. We don't want to include the search partners because we want to get high quality traffic, which is only from Google. And then we want to set the location. For this example, I choose the Netherlands. And we want to click here, the location options thing, and click only presence. Because if you use presence or interest, it broadens up your search and it doesn't only target on your targeted country. So click presence, name your ad group, all products, or whatever you are going to use, and then click create campaign. And that's already how you set up a Google shopping campaign, guys. It gives you the ability to filter any products if you want to. So add a subdivision and you could filter, for example, by product type or item ID specifically, or a custom label that you can attach to any products. But for now, we're going to leave that for what it is. And when it comes to creating a Google search campaign, what we are going to do is dive into the Google Ads account where we created our shopping campaign as well, and we're going to select a new campaign. We already got the keywords, we already know what we have to do, so we're going to set it up, and let's cut to the video where we do that. What we want to do is click again to go to campaigns and click the plus sign, new campaign, and we again want to drive sales, so that's very important. Then we're going to click continue. I selected the conversion tracking, which we already set up, and then click search. After that, it gives us the option to put in our website, as we see right here, website visits, your business name. Let's say, for example, we do loom.com because we like Loom. And just put in your own website here, obviously. Click continue. We have the campaign name, Netherlands, search, all products. For example, if you are going to set up a product specific campaign, click start new. And then if we want to follow our structure, our strategy, which we explained before, we are going to start phase 1 with a non-branded search with high intent keywords on maximize clicks, as we can remember. So clicks, set maximum CPC limit, for example, €2. And then this is a part about customer acquisition, about if you want to bid for just new customers, that's just an advanced part. So we will not get into that, and it doesn't load even. So that's no problem. I see it does. But then we click next. Here, you always want to disable the display network and disable the search partners, set your target country, and just like the shopping campaign, set it to presence. Languages, you probably want to add Dutch if you are advertising in the Dutch market. And then we put broad match keywords off, which is the default, so no problem. And automatically created assets, we turn that off as well. So we click next. We have some additional settings right here. We're not going to use that. We're going to click next. And then it gives us some generation, some AI stuff. But we're going to skip that because we don't want that. And then we're going to put in our website. We can name our ad group right here, all products, and put in here our keywords that we found. And according to the phase one, we have exact match keywords. So let's say blue light glasses by blue light blockers, for example. And you just put in a couple keywords. Put in your final URL, which can be your homepage or your specific product page if you only have one product. And then what you want to do is put in your headlines and your descriptions, add your business name and logos. So you have to go through advertiser verification, which is 2 steps. And you want to add some site links. So the additional links that add to your search campaign. Let's say, for example, you have a one product store or like a niche store. What you want to add in the site links is category pages, a sale page, or your bestseller page, for example. And then maybe an about us or returns and policies, just to throw in some authority, right? Those are the most important things. And then after your account is matured, basically, what you will get is the option to add in images as an image extension, and always do that. So try to use as many assets as you can, because those will give your ad a bit more color and a bit more feeling, right? So try to be very creative with your headlines or your descriptions. Try to get your USPs across. So always name your brand name, always name your, for example, your shipping times or your discounts, and then try to throw in some creative aspects that really makes you stand out compared to your competition. There's one thing that I want you to add as well, which is dynamic keyword insertion, which is this thing right here, keyword insertion, and let's say blue light blockers, and always put everything in title case, click apply. What this will do is it will put in the keyword that somebody is looking for directly into the ad. So you see blue light glasses, for example. And that's basically everything there is to know for setting up your search ad. So you click next, it gives you the option to set a budget, either the recommended budget or a custom budget, which could be like 20 or 30 euros a day. You click next, it checks for errors, click publish campaign. Simple as that. Cool. So we set up shopping and we set up a search campaign as well. Now we want to know how to set up a Google Performance Max campaign. And I'm going to show you how to set up a Performance Max campaign with or without feed. So without any further ado, let's dive into the Google Ads dashboard again. Go to campaigns, click the blue plus button and click new campaign. What you want to do is click sales. We have the conversion tracking set up, and then you click Performance Max. You'll be able to attach your feed right here. So and then we're gonna name it NLP Max all products, for example. We're gonna set a bidding strategy. So if we get up the campaign structure that we are going to use firstly with Performance Max, it will be a TCPA bidding strategy. So maximize conversions is this, and then set a CPA, which will be an average of your account's average orders, right? So let's say you on average pay a 40 euros CPA over the last 30 days. We're going to set a target CPA of 40 euros. We're going to click next. We can set our countries, and as you see, we cannot set it to presence or interest versus presence, so we have to do this afterwards. Then we're going to add the languages, automatically created assets. We turn that off for this phase because we want to have a bit more control, but you could use it if you are a bit more risky. What this basically will do is generate headlines and descriptions on the base of the content that it reads on your page, right? Then we have some more settings. We can add our brand exclusion here if we have a non-brand. So brand exclusion, You can create a brand list with your brand name and attach it right here. And then we click next. And now it's going to help us create assets. So we say all products, for example. We can list out the products that we want to advertise or that we don't want to advertise. We have our URL here, and then it is going to help us generate assets, but we're going to skip that for now. So you can put in here your headlines as well. You can see your placements once you filled everything in. So YouTube, Gmail, search, display, and discover. So put in your headlines, your long headline, short description, your descriptions, add appealing images, add appealing logos, put in your business name, attach a video. I highly recommend you attach a video if you're going to create a full build, because otherwise Google will create a video out of like auto-generated stuff, and that doesn't look very appealing. Add the site links, and then we have a call to action, which is probably gonna be shop now, right? Then we're gonna add some search themes. So to stick with the theme that we picked, blue light blocking glasses or blue light blockers. And you always want to put in your data because you have some conversions. You want to tell Google, okay, these are the people that get in the sales, and you're gonna use all converters, for example. You can name your audience if you want to, all converters, PMAX, and then you can attach any other signals if you want to. So demographics or interests. Maybe there's an interest group for people that are looking for blue light blocking glasses or eyewear or whatever. You want to add them if they are relevant. So then you click next. You set a budget and you get a summary. And now obviously I haven't filled in everything but budget. And let's see what it says right now. We have multiple asset group issues because we didn't fill anything in. Now here's the trick. First, Google pushes you to create a full build campaign. So if you want to create a full build campaign, that's no problem. If you want to create a feed only campaign, what you have to do is firstly create a full build, then pause the ad group later and create a new asset group within the Performance Max campaign, and then it lets you do only the feed. So then what you do is you attach the feed right here. You fill in the final URL, that's fine. Asset generation, you skip that because you don't want that. And then you have here the headlines, you leave everything blank, and then you click next. And then it lets you create one, but it doesn't because this is my first asset group, and then it needs me to put in all the assets. So let's say this works. I filled everything in. It lets us publish my campaign right here. And that's everything there is to know about setting up your Performance Max campaign. All right, guys. Now we are at the part where I'm going to talk about scaling your ads. So once your campaigns are running smoothly and you're getting your first sales, maybe you are at 30, 100 sales, it's time to think about scaling. And what you want to do when you are scaling is to double down on the thing that works. If you have a product that works, increase budget. If you have a keyword that works, increase the keyword. If you have a specific page that works, increase the budget to that page. You want to have as much of an impact if you have a winner to scale that winner. So what you want to do is look back to your strategy, look back at your campaign structure and see if it lets you spend more on the winning products. Let's say, for example, we are at phase 3, where we have the Performance Max Heroes and the Performance Max Zombies. That campaign structure lets us spend more on the winning products. Maybe you want to do the same when it comes to search ads. And this is where it can become kind of complicated because it's highly dependent on your situation, right? So my advice here would be just analyze your entire account, think what are the winners and what are the losers, and do less of the losers. So eliminate keywords, eliminate pages, or maybe you have to optimize some pages. And if you have winners, scale them. So scale the products, scale the keywords, and scale the pages that work. Then, just practical, when scaling, keep your negative keyword list high. So just regularly keep checking search terms. Make sure you aren't spending enough on your branded terms. And once you have a structure that works for you, you can look into scaling into other departments like YouTube ads or dynamic display remarketing, and then it can become really fun to scale your account. So just know that if your traffic is growing, you have to consider to layer in new campaigns, like, as I said, dynamic remarketing. You could also create more demand by using demand generation, trying a YouTube Shorts or whatever. So yeah, I think it's very important for you to know to rock the fundamentals first and then get into your so-called Google Ads toolbox, where you set up new campaigns or A/B tests with different topics, right? Cool. Guys, this brings us into the following. We have the bonuses, which is a very important part. I'm gonna talk you through two bonuses, which is one, the Mike Rhodes script. And as outlined in this guide, we are using Performance Max. And Performance Max is a very powerful campaign type. But again, we get limits on the insights. So we want to know exactly where our products are spending, what are our winning products, how much spend do the products get, and basically how much spend do specific assets get, and specific pages and specific search terms. Within Google Ads, you cannot see this, but with a script that the legendary Mike Rhodes created, we can see this. So if you look into the screen right now, you see how the cost and the profitability per product looks like. And we did this on one of our client accounts. It looks very good. And we see here, for example, that we have 41 products that are generating a 700% ROAS and 9.5K in profit, compared to all the 960 other products that are generating even less than the amount of profit that the profitable products are generating. So these are very important insights, guys. What you can do is go to the document that I included around this video and click either free or paid for the Mike Rhodes script. It will walk you through another tutorial. Just start using this if you are already running Performance Max, and act on the data that you see. That's a very, very important one. Then, as I said earlier, we have a Google Ads toolbox. So I like to think of Google Ads as two different concepts. Concept one is the Google Ads fundamentals, which we are covering in this video. The second one is the Google Ads toolbox, and that's basically the toolbox that the Google Ads expert has to optimize your accounts to new heights, to generate more sales or more profit or whatever. And I included our toolbox right here. So of course we have some other ideas, but this gives you a general idea of what's in our Google Ads toolbox, so you can use that as well. So for example, we have A/B testing ad copy within search campaigns. We have optimizing negative keywords. That's just an ongoing process. We have budget and bidding management, higher TROAS, lower TROAS, another campaign type. What? We have new campaign optimization or campaign optimization. So splitting your campaigns in different segments, like the heroes and the zombies, like I talked about. Or let's say, for example, setting up a new campaign type like demand generation. These are on the toolbox. Just to give you some other ideas, set up additional remarketing, changing your audience targeting, using automated rules and scripts to change your bids, for example, using performance analysis and reporting, or you can even steer your campaigns not to ROAS, but for POAS. So not return on ad spend or revenue on ad spend, but profit on ad spend. And you can do this with either building a system yourself or using a tool called Profit Metrics, which is really useful. So, everyone, what's next? After this video, if you did the implementation with me, you set up your Google Ads account, before we even got into the setting up the accounts, you got a good understanding of how Google Ads works and how you can set up your campaigns for your first couple Google Ads sales. And after that, we actually set up our Google Ads account. We connected it with Shopify. We set up conversion tracking, and we set up a search, a shopping, and a Performance Max campaign. So what's next? The whole game starts now, and I need you to understand that. So you probably are getting a couple sales within a couple days after setting up your account, and you want to optimize on the base of that. And then you want to double down on everything that works. If you have a product that works, double down. If you have a keyword that works, double down. If you have a campaign type that works, double down. It's really important that you check in on your account regularly and to make sure that you double down on the things that work and that you eliminate what doesn't work. Because that way you will eliminate wasted spend, which is a lot in new accounts, and you will scale the winning components of your account, which will get your brand to amazing profits. I want to thank you guys for watching. I created this guide just to help anyone out there who is wanting to start to run ads but doesn't know how. And this is how I would do it if I were to run my own e-commerce store. The real magic happens when you continuously test, as I said, and optimize and refine your campaigns. And if you ever need personalized help with your ads, feel free to reach out or head over to amplifize.nl, and we are here to help you scale. You can go onto my social media channels or YouTube channel or my website. We provide a lot of case studies and a lot of information there about Google Ads. So feel free to check that out. But for now, I genuinely hope you are getting your first couple sales and take it from there. I wish you the best and thank you for watching this video. Have an amazing day.